Imagine stumbling upon a hidden diary that reveals the darkest secrets of the British royal family. Now imagine that diary belongs to Princess Diana herself, words never meant to be seen by the world, words that even her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, never knew existed. This diary is not just a collection of memories, it's a chilling testament to the pain, manipulation, and isolation Diana endured behind the grand palace walls. Each page is a cry for help, a desperate attempt to ensure her truth would survive even if she couldn't. The discovery of this diary threatens to dismantle the carefully crafted image of the royal family, exposing a side of Diana's life that was hidden from the world for far too long. Princess Diana's diary was never intended for the public eye. She poured her heart into those pages, revealing the harsh realities of royal life that were masked by public smiles and elegant appearances. It wasn't the fairy tale many believed it to be. It was a battlefield. Every entry reflects her struggle with the suffocating rules and the emotional loneliness she faced daily. This diary is more than just a personal account. It's a weapon that exposes the emotional warfare she endured, the betrayals she faced, and the price she paid for being a royal. Why would Diana write down these painful memories? The answer lies in her fear of being forgotten or misunderstood. She knew that once her voice was silenced, the palace could twist her story to fit their narrative. This diary was her insurance, a raw and unfiltered account of her life, told on her terms. It was her final act of defiance against an institution that tried to break her spirit. Every word she wrote was a testament to her resilience, a declaration that she would not be erased. The discovery of this diary has sent shockwaves through the royal family and the world. It challenges everything we thought we knew about Diana's life and the monarchy. The carefully maintained facade of royal perfection is now at risk of crumbling. This diary doesn't just tell Diana's story. It demands that we see the royal family through a new lens, one that reveals the cracks beneath the surface. As we open the pages of this diary, we step into a world of hidden pain, secret battles, and a woman who fought to be heard even when no one was listening. As we dive into these pages, the first shocking revelation is Diana's struggle within the royal walls. Princess Diana's diary reveals a painful truth. Being a royal was not a dream, but a nightmare. Surrounded by wealth, power, and grandeur, she felt more alone than ever. The palace, with its towering walls and endless corridors, was not a home but a prison. Every day, Diana lived under a microscope. Every smile, every gesture, and every word was carefully observed and analyzed. She wasn't free to be herself. She had to play a role she never chose. Her diary entries show a woman who felt trapped, suffocated by rules that demanded perfection but offered no warmth. Even in rooms full of people, Diana felt completely isolated. She described the royal family as emotionally distant, where affection was rare and genuine connections were almost impossible. Despite the lavish lifestyle, she felt empty inside. No amount of luxury could fill the void left by the lack of love and understanding. Her diary paints a haunting picture of loneliness, where the weight of expectations pressed down on her every moment. Diana wasn't seen as a person with feelings and dreams. She was seen as a symbol, an object to be admired but never truly known. Her words reflect the constant pressure to meet impossible standards. Every moment of her life was choreographed by the palace. She had to smile, even when she was breaking inside. She had to pretend everything was perfect when her world was falling apart. Diana's diary shows how exhausting it was to live this lie every single day. She wrote about feeling like a puppet whose strings were controlled by the palace. The loneliness became unbearable, but she couldn't escape it. She wasn't a princess by choice. She was a prisoner bound by expectations she never agreed to. Maintaining her identity became a daily battle. The palace wanted her to fit into their mold, but Diana was different. She wanted to be more than just a princess in pretty dresses. She wanted to be heard, to be seen for who she was. But the royal family didn't allow that. Every time she tried to express herself, she was silenced. Her diary entries reveal her silent rebellion, her desperate attempts to hold on to her true self in a world that wanted to erase her individuality. Through her words, we see a woman struggling to breathe under the weight of tradition and expectations. Diana's pain was invisible to the public, but her diary reveals the raw emotions she hid behind her smile. She was fighting a battle every day, against loneliness, against expectations, and a system that never truly accepted her. But the pain didn't stop there. Her marriage to King Charles was an open wound, documented in painful detail. Princess Diana's diary lays bare the harsh reality of her marriage to King Charles, a union built not on love, but on obligation. From the beginning, Diana felt like an outsider in her marriage. Her entries revealed the heartbreak she endured as Charles maintained his relationship with Camilla, a betrayal that was never hidden from her. She wrote about the sting of realizing she was never truly loved by the man the world thought was her prince. The pain was unbearable, yet she had to wear a smile and pretend everything was perfect. Her diary captures the agony of living in a constant state of emotional torment. Diana compared her marriage to a tragic play where she was the lead actor, forced to deliver a flawless performance every day. She smiled for the cameras, waved at the crowds, and fulfilled her royal duties while silently crying inside. The palace expected her to uphold the perfect image of a royal wife, but behind closed doors, she felt abandoned and unwanted. Her words vividly describe the loneliness of sharing a life with someone who saw her as a duty, not a partner. Diana's writings expose the humiliation she felt as the world admired her marriage while she endured emotional abuse. She described moments when Charles's affection for Camilla was so obvious that it cut through her like a knife. The whispers, the glances, the stolen moments between them were painful reminders that she was never his first choice. Diana felt discarded, reduced to a role she never wanted, to provide heirs and maintain the royal bloodline. Her diary entries reveal the deep emotional scars left by a marriage that drained her spirit day by day. Maintaining the facade of a happy marriage became a daily torment. Diana's diary reflects her exhaustion from pretending, from smiling when all she wanted to do was scream. She felt trapped in a web of lies, expected to endure her pain silently while the world celebrated her fairy tale life. The marriage wasn't a union of love, it was an arrangement designed to serve the monarchy. Diana felt used, like a piece in a larger game, where her feelings didn't matter. She wrote about the loneliness of being married but feeling utterly alone, surrounded by walls that echoed her silent cries. Despite the heartbreak, Diana's diary reveals her strength in the face of betrayal. She fought to hold on to her dignity, even when her world was falling apart. Her words are filled with sorrow, but also with resilience, a woman determined not to let the pain define her. But beyond her pain, Diana's greatest fears were for her sons, William and Harry. Princess Diana's diary reveals that beyond the glamour of royal life, her heart was consumed by worry for her sons, William and Harry. As a mother, Diana's greatest fear was that the royal system, which had crushed her spirit, would do the same to them. She wrote about the unbearable thought of William carrying the immense weight of the crown, a burden he never asked for. The expectations, the constant scrutiny, and the pressure to be perfect haunted her. Diana knew firsthand how ruthless the monarchy could be, and she feared her son's individuality would be swallowed by the very institution that had tried to erase her own. Her diary entries exposed the pain she felt, knowing that Harry would always live in William's shadow. She worried that Harry would be seen as nothing more than the spare, constantly trying to prove his worth in a family obsessed with hierarchy. Diana's words reflect her deep sadness at the thought of her younger son feeling insignificant, lost in the shadows cast by tradition and duty. She understood how cruel the royal system could be to those who didn't fit its mold, and she feared for Harry's future in a world where he would always be second. Diana's love for her children shines through every page of her diary. She was determined to protect them from the emotional turmoil she had endured. Her entries reveal a mother who was willing to fight against the most powerful institution in the world to ensure her sons had the emotional freedom she never had. She wanted them to grow up knowing love, kindness, and compassion, not just protocol and expectation. Diana documented her struggles as a mother trapped in a rigid system, but her words also show her unwavering resolve to shield her children from the same fate. The diary reflects Diana's strategic mind as she planned ways to give William and Harry a childhood filled with genuine moments of happiness. She made conscious efforts to break the royal mold by taking them on everyday adventures, exposing them to the real world beyond palace gates. Diana's entries highlight her belief that her sons deserved to be more than just royal figures, they deserved to be children first. She wrote about her dreams of giving them a life where they could express their emotions freely, away from the suffocating rules of royalty. Her words are filled with the fierce protectiveness of a mother who knew the dangers that lurked within the palace walls. Diana wanted to equip her sons with the strength to navigate the pressures they would inevitably face. She knew that no matter how hard she tried, the royal machine would always be there, waiting to mold them. But she vowed to do everything in her power to give them the tools to resist, to stay true to themselves in a world that demanded they conform. But Diana knew that within the palace walls, unseen forces were always at play. Princess Diana's diary reveals a chilling reality. The palace was not just her home, but a battlefield where silent wars were fought daily. She wrote about feeling constantly watched, every move observed by unseen eyes. Diana's suspicions of palace insiders working against her were not mere paranoia. Her words paint a vivid picture of a place where trust was scarce and manipulation was routine. She felt trapped in a web of power games, where alliances shifted like shadows and loyalty was a fragile illusion. Diana's diary describes the overwhelming sense of being controlled, not just by the royal family but by the entire institution. She believed that certain individuals within the palace were actively trying to undermine her, to break her spirit. Every decision she made, every step she took was monitored and at times sabotaged. She documented moments where her efforts to carve out a space for herself were met with calculated resistance. The palace, she wrote, was a place where kindness was a tool for deception and every smile could hide a dagger. Her entries exposed the hidden dynamics that controlled her life. Diana knew that her public image was carefully crafted by those around her, often without her consent. She felt like a pawn in a much larger game, where the goal was to maintain the royal family's pristine image, even if it meant sacrificing her happiness. The diary reveals her frustration with how easily her actions were manipulated to fit the palace's narrative, making her feel powerless despite being one of the most famous women in the world. Yet Diana's words also showcase her sharp perception. She saw through the facade, understanding the games being played around her. Her diary reflects the mind of a woman who is acutely aware of the silent war being waged against her. She documented not just the actions of those who sought to control her, but also her strategies to resist them. Diana's entries reveal her determination to maintain her sense of self, even when surrounded by forces that sought to diminish her. Amidst these external battles, Diana was also fighting an internal war with her mental health. Princess Diana's diary offers a heart-wrenching glimpse into her hidden battle with depression and bulimia, struggles she endured silently while the world admired her beauty and grace. Her words reveal the depth of her emotional pain, a pain that was invisible to those around her but consumed her from within. Diana wrote about the overwhelming sadness that often left her feeling empty and hopeless, even when surrounded by the luxuries of royal life. Her diary entries detail the endless nights she spent crying, feeling lost and alone, trapped in a world that offered no emotional refuge. Bulimia became her secret escape, a way to cope with the immense pressure and emotional turmoil. Diana's raw descriptions of her eating disorder reveal the depths of her despair. She wrote about the vicious cycle of binging and purging, each episode driven by the need to feel in control when everything else in her life felt uncontrollable. Her diary doesn't hide the shame and guilt she felt afterward, but it also reveals the brutal honesty with which she faced her struggle. Diana's words show a woman desperate to find relief from the emotional weight that crushed her daily. In her most vulnerable moments, Diana questioned her ability to be a good mother. She wrote about the fear of not being enough for William and Harry, of failing them because she was barely holding herself together. The pressure to be the perfect royal, the perfect wife, and the perfect mother all at once became unbearable. Her diary entries reflect the internal conflict she faced, wanting to give her children all the love and stability she never had, while struggling to find her balance. Diana's pain was not just about her battles, it was about the fear that her emotional struggles might impact her sons. Public scrutiny only added to her emotional isolation. Diana's diary describes the exhausting reality of living under constant observation. Every public appearance felt like a performance, every gesture analyzed and judged. She wrote about the suffocating feeling of never being able to let her guard down, of having to maintain a flawless image while her world crumbled behind closed doors. The pressure to meet the public's expectations while battling her inner demons pushed Diana to her breaking point. Yet, she endured, not for herself, but for her children. Her vulnerability shines through every page, but so does her strength. Acknowledging her mental health challenges at a time when such topics were rarely discussed was an act of immense bravery. Diana's diary reveals a woman who, despite her pain, refused to be defeated by it. She sought help, fought through her darkest moments, and continued to love fiercely. Her words are a testament to her resilience, showing that even in her weakest moments, she possessed an unbreakable spirit. But one thing remained constant: her undying love for her sons. Princess Diana's diary is a heartfelt tribute to the unbreakable bond she shared with her sons William and Harry. Her words overflow with love, capturing the deep emotional connection that defined her role as a mother. In her private entries, Diana often referred to William and Harry as her greatest joy, the light that kept her going through the darkest times. She wrote tender messages to them, reminding them that no matter what the world said or what the royal family demanded, her love for them would always be unconditional. Her diary stands as a collection of love letters, each one a reminder of how much they meant to her. Diana's greatest mission in life was to break the cycle of emotional distance that had plagued the royal family for generations. She saw firsthand how the monarchy's rigid traditions often stripped away genuine human connections, turning family members into distant figures. Determined to change this, Diana made it her priority to ensure that William and Harry felt loved, heard, and valued. Her diary entries reveal a mother who was deeply aware of the emotional void within the palace and was committed to shielding her sons from it. She vowed that they would never feel the same loneliness she experienced. Every page of her diary reflects the thought and care she put into nurturing her sons' individuality. Diana believed that William and Harry deserved to grow up as their true selves, not just as royal heirs, bound by protocol. She planned simple joys for them, from casual outings to heartfelt conversations, moments that allowed them to experience life beyond the palace gates. Diana's writings highlight her efforts to give them a childhood filled with love, laughter, and freedom, a rare gift in the royal world. She wanted them to know that they were more than just their titles. They were human beings with dreams, emotions, and identities of their own. Diana's fierce love shines through in every word she writes about her children. She documented her hopes for their future, her fears for their well-being, and her unwavering determination to protect them from the harsh realities of royal life. Her diary is a testament to a mother's devotion, showing that even amidst her struggles, her children's happiness and safety remained her top priority. Diana's love for William and Harry was the anchor that kept her grounded, and her writings reveal a mother who would have moved mountains to ensure their well-being. But Diana dreamed of a life beyond the palace, a new beginning for herself and her sons. Princess Diana's diary reveals more than just her pain. It unveils her dreams of breaking free from the constraints of royal life. She longed for a world where she and her sons could live without the constant scrutiny and suffocating expectations that came with being royals. Her entries detail carefully crafted plans to escape, with the United States emerging as a place of hope and possibility. Diana imagined a life where William and Harry could grow up as ordinary boys, free to explore their passions, without the weight of the crown pressing down on their shoulders. Her dreams were not just fleeting thoughts, but well-thought-out strategies. Diana envisioned creating a home far from the palace, where her sons could experience a sense of normalcy. She wanted them to live in a world where they weren't constantly reminded of their royal duties, but instead encouraged to be their authentic selves. Her diary entries reveal the depth of her desire to protect them from the emotional chains that royalty often imposed. Diana saw freedom not just as an escape, but as a gift she desperately wanted to give her children, a chance to be happy, genuine, and unburdened by tradition. Beyond her dreams of a new life for her family, Diana's vision extended to making a global impact. She wrote passionately about using her platform to bring real change to the world. Her humanitarian efforts were never about public appearances or royal obligations. They were about touching lives, breaking stigmas, and giving a voice to the voiceless. Diana's diary reflects her deep commitment to causes like landmine awareness, and she dreamed of expanding her work globally, building support networks and creating initiatives that would leave a lasting legacy of compassion and kindness. Diana's words paint a picture of hope and resilience. Despite the pain she endured, her diary reveals a woman who never stopped dreaming. She believed in a future where love triumphed over duty, where kindness mattered more than titles, and where her sons could thrive without fear or restriction. Her entries showcase a mother's unyielding love and an individual's unwavering determination to create a better world. Diana's dream of escape wasn't just about leaving the palace behind, it was about building a life filled with freedom, love, and purpose. Princess Diana's secret diary doesn't just reveal her pain, it immortalizes her strength, love, and legacy. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting videos.